Hi there everyone, my name is Kira Bradshaw, and this past year I was the State Fair alternate for the All Systems Go Vet Science Project. So this past year I made a poster about blue-green algae, and so I did a section with toxic algae and not toxic algae, and these are all pictures from Ohio. Then I found several facts about blue-green algae. So I learned that when bacteria die, they can open and release toxins into the water. I learned that only the top layer of blue-green algae can be killed with fluorine. I learned that blooms can disappear or move to different parts of the lake or pond, which is pretty interesting. Then there are many symptoms of blue-green algae, and some of them are confusion, weakness, seizures, tremors, unconsciousness, inability to walk, muscle rigidity, excessive tearing, blue gums, drooling, hypersalivating, difficulty breathing, diarrhea and vomiting, and in the end, death. So I saw a simple test that you can do to test for blue-green algae, and so it is called the jar test. And so what you will need is a glass jar with a lid and then rubber gloves. So with gloves on, you're going to collect a sample of water just below the surface of the water, and then you're going to fill the jar about 2/3 of the way full, and don't fill it any more than that because then the jar can break. Then the third step is to wipe off the jar and screw on the lid. And then you're going to want to put the jar in a refrigerator overnight and not move it. The fifth step is taking the jar from the refrigerator and seeing how the algae is accumulated. So you can see in the pictures down below it, if the algae settles on the bottom, it is likely non-toxic. But if the algae forms a ring around the top, then there's a strong possibility that it's toxic. So this past year, I also made a scrapbook to go with my project, or to go with my poster. And so there are many activities in the book, including domino activities that's similar to COVID and social distancing. So you use dominoes and space them out and see how many of them fall over. Then you visit a place where animals are taken care of and identify ways that contagious diseases could be spread and actions taken to prevent that. So I went to a farm and I helped out for a day. And they have all kinds of things like boot washing stations. They keep the floors clean. They have areas to quarantine sick animals. Then and there are other things about designing vaccination programs to protect animals against their most common diseases. So I found vaccination programs for cows and dogs and cats, vaccination programs for chickens. So these are all different vaccinations for different types of animals that they would need. Then asking a veterinarian to show you parasites such as bots, heartworm, tapeworms, roundworms, grubs, and so on. I found many different parasites which do a lot of harm to animals, and I found out how they're transmitted, how to prevent them, what to do if your animal has them. Then I found giving a demonstration and reading and interpreting medication labels. So I had a medication label for my dog, and I was able to interpret that and include it in my project book. Then investigating water quality and how it can affect health. I actually did my main project on that because blue-green algae is in water. And so I included some facts about blue-green algae in my project book, or my scrapbook. Then I observed hay being put up and asked the farmer to explain how harvesting and storage techniques can affect feed and safety quality. So I was able to see and take pictures of baling hay and the different steps of doing that. And then that's the end of all of my project stuff, but I also include in the end different community service activities and some leadership opportunities that I've had, and me hanging out with friends at the fair and different awards that I have won. And so that is my book. So then I have the project book, and in the project book there are a lot of different activities. So this is a 3-year project, and so every year you have these small things called booster shots. So that's most of what I put in my scrapbook. And so every year you have to do a few of those, and then there are different activities throughout this 3-year project. This is the second level of it. The first one is from Airedales to zebras. And so there's things in here about filing. There's different things in here about, different body systems. There's things about how to keep animals from being stressed. There's some things about complete blood count. There's the domino activity that you saw in the scrapbook earlier. Then there are things about parasites. There's things about quality food, so you learn about how you do an experiment kind of thing, and you learn about different foods and how they're stored. So there are all kinds of different things. You learn about different diseases that animals can have, and so it's a very, very good project if you want to be a veterinarian. So one of my favorite parts of Winter Fair is getting to ask questions about the project. And so this year, since it's not in person, I try to come up with a few questions that people might have. And so the first one is this a hard project? So I think that this is not an easy project. It's not a project that you can do in an afternoon. You're going to have to put some work into it and plan ahead, because no one's going to be baling hay in February. So you're going to need to plan ahead and make sure that you have a plan of how you're going to complete all of the activities. So how many levels of the project are there? There are 3 different project books, and each project is a 3-year project. So this year is my second year of this upcoming year is my 3rd year of the second book. Then will this project really help me get prepared for vet school? So this project is incredibly helpful to prepare you for vet school. I have talked to veterinarians, and they say that the kids who are in 4-H do much better than the kids who were not in 4-H. And I talked to another vet student, and she said that I was learning the same things in this project right now that she was learning in college. Then the last question I came up with was, what else can I do to prepare for vet school, or will this project guarantee me a spot in vet school? So the answer is this project will not guarantee you a spot in vet school. Vet school is an extremely competitive thing, and so it is very hard to get into vet school. There are only about 30 vet schools in the entire United States, and so it is incredibly competitive. And if you want to get into vet school, you should focus a lot on math and science, but your overall GPA is also very, very important. So thank you so much for watching this, and I really hope that you take the vet science projects.